Hello, and welcome back to the Combat Corner podcast. I'm Alex, and today I will be previewing UFC 321, which takes place tomorrow as of the time I'm recording this. And I'll probably upload this tonight as well if I get all the editing done. I'm really excited for this card to start. I think it's a really slept on card. I think it's from the prelims to the main card. There's some really good fights. There are some lows on it, but really not many. It's a good card. I think people need to appreciate how good of a card it really is. Right, that's enough for me, so I'm going to dive straight into it. Going straight into the main event, Tom Aspinall versus Ciryl Gane. Big things for the heavyweight division. We finally have the division moving. Aspinall promises to be an active champion, and this is the start, his first official undisputed title defense. So I'm just going to start off by talking about this stigma around Tom Aspinall getting a submission over Ciryl Gane. Personally, I don't think, as much as I think he can submit Ciryl Gane, I don't think he does. I think he beats him via knockout. I think Gane will have worked so hard on his wrestling from the last two title fights where he got out wrestled by Ngannou and he got subbed by Jones in the first round. I think he will have just drilled wrestling all the time. So I think Aspinall keeps it on the feet, at least, well, obviously to start. I think Gane will be hesitant to utilise his kickboxing because he'll be afraid Aspinall will catch a kick and take him down. So that just leaves Gane with his boxing and his elbows and all that. And I think most people would agree with me that Tom Aspinall's a better pure boxer than Ciryl Gane. He's more powerful. And Gane's been dropped by Tai Tuivasa and I think a couple other fighters. So I think Tom Aspinall would have no issue in hurting Ciryl Gane. So the first thing I want to say is I disagree with this whole stigma of Aspinall getting a submission in the first round. As much as I think it's possible, I think he knocks him out within the first two, maybe even the first round. Hear me saying this. That goes to show how good Tom Aspinall really is. I mean, he's a phenomenal fighter. So I can't wait for this. For Ciryl Gane, I think the path to victory is just to defend takedowns, drag Tom into deep waters and beat him to a decision. I just think it's so hard. It's such a difficult thing to do. I really do like Ciryl Gane, but I don't see much path to victory in this fight. Think he can make it competitive at times for sure, but I don't know. Yeah, so I think Aspinall will utilise his pressure. He stays in front of you and he's moving quickly, he's feinting, and then he just explodes out of nowhere. We've seen this from Aspinall. You can see it in the moment where he knocks out Sergey Pavlovich. He's just, I'll throw a low kick. Here I am, I'm circling to my left. Ciryl Gane's following me. Boom! He hits him with a right hand and then smashes another right hand and knocks him down to the ground where he finishes the fight. So, very explosive, very sudden, great boxing. And a quote by Michael Bisping after he finished Curtis Blades, the finishing instincts are different. And I couldn't agree more. It's just, it's unbelievable. I mean, Tom Aspinall just, you look at the Curtis Blades fight, it was his last fight. Curtis Blades goes down, Aspinall's on top of him within a second. I mean, when he sees a finish, he gets the finish. I just think for the fight, I'm predicting Aspinall to beat Gane. I don't think Aspinall does Gan like everyone else, just completely effortlessly and so quickly. I do think he does finish him though. I think Gan can make it competitive, but there's an inevitable finish for Aspinall. But it's heavyweight MMA, anything can happen, you know. Aspinall right now, he's on a 5-fight win streak and he's practically undefeated in the UFC. He had the loss to Curtis Blades, where he blew his knee out in the opening moments of the fight. But even Curtis Blades says he doesn't count that as a real win for himself. It's, you know, and then he fought Curtis Blades the second time and he knocked him out in a minute. So practically undefeated in the UFC. Gan has lost to Jones and Ngannou, and he's coming off like a horrendous, in my opinion, a horrendous robbery over Volkov, who Aspinall has finished in the first round. So most heavyweight title fights end in a finish, especially knockout. And Aspinall, in my eyes, is the best finisher in the sport. I think the threat to takedown is what's gonna be the big problem for Gan. I just think Aspinall's pressure and his ability to cut off the cage, he stays in front of Gan, doesn't let Gan move, doesn't let him circle off, just cuts off the cage. He gets his angle and he enters when he needs to enter, gets the finish. Right, go on. I'll move on to the co-main event of the evening. I don't really have much of a breakdown for this fight, Verna versus Dern, but I think Verna will be one of my underdog picks for the night. I'm just more impressed by her last couple of fights than Mackenzie Dern's last couple of fights. The feature fight of the evening, Umar Nurmagomedov versus Mario Batista. Umar beats everyone in the division except Merab, and I think he's a better all-round fighter than Mario Batista. And one thing I'll say about Umar is he really shuts down the stereotype of Dagestanis have no striking, they're just pure wrestlers. He has phenomenal striking. He outstruck Corey Sandhagen, and if you know, you know. Corey Sandhagen's a great striker, great mixed martial artist. Batista won't make it easy. I think he's a really underrated fighter. He gets a lot of hate because of the Jose Aldo robbery, but hey, that's not his fault, you know. And it was a close enough fight, so it's not his fault that the judges gave the scorecard to him. He did what he needed to do and got the win. So I do think he's underrated. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that fight. Now moving on to Alexander Volkov versus Jailton Almeida. I think Volkov wins. I think Volkov beats him. I think he has the size advantage. He's 6'7" and Jailton Almeida is 6'3". So that's he has the size advantage, and I can't remember what the reach stats are, but obviously Volkov has a bigger reach than Almeida. I think Volkov is underrated grappling. I'm not calling him a Tom Aspinall type heavyweight grappler, Cain Velasquez type grappler. I'm just saying that I underrate his grappling. I think it's not too bad. He did good with Cyril Gane, and he got a submission over, I think it might have been Tai Tuivasa. Don't take my word for that. I can't really remember. But he has fast hands for the division. He's huge. I do think he just stays on the outside. He snipes him. He's powerful. But on the other side, on the other half of it, Almeida shoots takedowns from very far out. He is great BJJ, great power. And I think he beats Volkov in terms of the grappling realm. But I can just see the fight playing out that maybe Volkov gets a late finish or brings him to a decision. But it will be a close fight, and then obviously the winner of that will go on for the belt, I'd assume. Then moving on to the next fight in the night, Alexander Rakic versus Azmat Mirzatazov. Excuse me, I can't remember his full name. I'll refer to him as Azmat from now on. Rakic has huge size on Azmat. Huge. I mean, Rakic is 6'4", and I think Azmat is 5'10". Like, that's massive. Huge, especially for the weight class. At light heavyweight. I'm not really impressed with Rakic's last few. He lost to... What was his last fight? He was his last fight, Yuri Prohaska, or maybe he had one more recent, excuse me. My brain's just gone there, but this last few he's lost. And I just think Azmat's speed, his power, his footwork is just amazing. I love his style, man. I love watching this guy. He's one of my favourite fighters to watch. He's undefeated in the UFC. He's undefeated professionally, actually. All 5 fights in his UFC have ended in a finish. So 4 knockouts and 1 submission, I believe. So that's on 100% finish rate. Yeah, I think even though Rakic is much bigger than Azmat, I think Azmat finds a finish, probably by knockout, within the distance. But it'll be interesting because Rakic does have the size in him. He could be a bit of a kind of Muhammad Ali stick and move, stick and dance kind of approach to the fight. But yeah, I don't know. A couple other fighters, I don't have much more to say, but a couple other fighters I just want you to look out for on the card is Ikram Aliskerov. He fought... recently he fought Robert Whittaker in the main event of a card, an Abu Dhabi card, I believe. He actually lost that fight, but outside of that, I think he has 2 losses professionally. But he is a good fighter, so just look out for him if you're watching him. If you're watching the card, excuse me. Rebecki. Sorry, I'm moving on to someone else now. Rebecki. This Rebecki guy is really good. I mean, he fought Oralboy, the guy who looks like a Genghis Khan almost. He looks like early Mongolian. He's a really unique looking guy. If you know, you know. But him and Rebecki had an absolute war, like a bloodbath, on an Abu Dhabi card a while back, and I think it was the fight of the year 2024 for me. I thought it was better than Holloway Gaethje, to be honest. Even though it was the 3-rounder, it was a great fight. And yeah, I just expect this fight to be entertaining too, so just look out for Rebecki if you're seeing him. The next fighter is Walter Walker. Nice BJJ. Very tall, very big heavyweight. And he is the brother of Johnny Walker, who we're all very familiar with. And then, last but definitely not least, Nathaniel Wood. This guy's been around for ages. I've actually seen his last 2 live in person. And he won his last 2. He seems like a really humble guy, a really nice guy. He's an entertaining fighter to watch. He's quite good technically too, and yeah, he's certainly one to look out for. I think he said he's changing his nickname from the Prospect was always his nickname, but I think now it's the Last Kingsman or something along the lines of that. I think it's the Last Kingsman. I heard that a while ago anyway, but we'll find out Saturday night. If you made it this far, cheers. Thanks very much for, listening. But yeah, I am ecstatic for this card, and if you're watching it, it's gonna be a good one. So if you're not watching it, watch it. Is what I'm saying. Anyway, that's enough from me. So I'll see you. See you next time.